Hi there, it is 8:09. The lives of thousands of children in developing countries could be saved every day if governments spent more on money on healthcare, according to a report out today.
And TV presenter Myleene has witnessed the conditions in rural hospitals in Nepal firsthand. She joins us, obviously, on the sofa. I'm going to be talking to her in just a moment. First, though, this is part of her video diary from that trip.
This is where the women who are waiting to give birth, they stay.
Oh, hello, baby girl.
This is the delivery ward. There's the two beds, stirrups. It's just unbelievable. So here I am, up a mountain in Nepal. How do these people get any help? The hospital is a whole day away, and when you hear the stories, it's just horrific. Babies that are at 7 months, at 8 months could have made it.
खोकेको जस्तो गरेको थियो अनि एक्कासी हेरेँ मैले बच्चा मुख मात्रै गरिरहेको थियो यसो हाततिर छामे केही पनि गरेन अनि मैले बुवा यता बाहिरतिर हुनुहुन्थ्यो बुवालाई बोलाएँ के भयो भनेर अनि बुवाले लिनु भयो अनि छैन बच्चा दिनदिनै याद आउँछ दिनदिनै सोच्छु.
Cannot imagine that feeling of helplessness, because in the UK we do have options.
And Myleene joins us now. Myleene, thanks so much for coming in. And you're obviously very affected by that mother's story in particular.
Yeah, of course.
What was the reason?
I think what was so difficult is I didn't know what I was walking into. I didn't know what story she was necessarily going to tell me, and we'd been trekking for hours to get to her. So the 4x4 just couldn't get us any further up the mountains, and then we trekked to her house. And then when this lady, who was so welcoming, started to tell a story about her child being born, which you know was a miracle in its own right, because I don't know how she even managed to give birth up there in the mountains, completely isolated, absolutely freezing. She couldn't afford the hospital bills, which equate to a month's wages for 1 day's stay in hospital, and she took the baby out of hospital, and after just 2 weeks of having her newborn, while she was breastfeeding her child, he died in her arms. And the saddest bit for me is that then, you know, as part of the culture, they took the baby away, they cremate the baby in those hills. And when you hear about people trekking to Nepal, we're going to go and, you know, find ourselves in the isolation, in that tranquility, actually, when you just scratch beneath the surface and you look at the fact there is trouble in paradise, that isolation is actually what's hurting these women. These women cannot get up or down the mountains. When they go into labour, for example, I mean, I don't know about you, but I just wanted to spread out and just concentrate on the job in hand.
Well, these women also have enormous amounts of pain relief and doctors and nurses on hand.
That's right.
Yeah.
These women, they get down the mountain by being carried in what is effectively a laundry basket. Sometimes it can take 4 to 5 hours. Sometimes the babies are born in the laundry basket and suffocate. Often women give birth on the road, the babies die. I mean, you hear these stories so often, and you just look at the hills and you just think, how many babies are either buried or have been cremated in those hills? It's tragic.
Myleene, why has it got this bad, and why haven't they? Because, I mean, this has been going on for a while, as you say. Why haven't the authorities been able to spend more money and try and improve the facilities?
I think we've got this idea, and it's such a misunderstood idea, that there's always going to be a wise woman in the village that everyone's going to gravitate towards, and she's going to be able to help them, and that's how it's been done traditionally. And it's not actually true. There's a lot of miseducation and misinformation that's out there. So the women, often when they do have babies, if they can't get to a health post or a hospital, bearing in mind there's one health worker to every 1,500 people out there, you know, they give birth at home, and instead of getting any kind of health care, people, due to traditions, hang eggs around the room. If somebody hung eggs around the room when I was in labour, I don't know what would have happened. But it's extremely tragic. And so the work that Save the Children are doing there is incredible. We went to a health post where there was a midwife who has delivered 1,600 babies.
Wow.
And she had this torch, and I'll never get that image out of my head. The torch was covered in bite marks, and the paint had been removed from the torch, where she'd held it in her teeth as she had to effectively catch the babies. So Save the Children gave her an angle poised lamp. It's just changed everything.
Perfect.
So.
And you can see much more of Myleene's video diary if you go to our website, itv.com/GMB.
Or go to savethechildren.org.uk and sign our petition. Help us out. We just want your signatures.
And we cannot let you leave the sofa without talking about this controversy which you were involved in quite recently. And it's something that I think is close to many parents' hearts, about when they go to a children's party and then, in your case, the parents ask not for a present for their child, but money to buy them a Kindle and a desk. What was it about that that so enraged you?
I think, you know, there's been so much that's been said, and I understand that, you know, from your position, it's a question you certainly ask. But
well, I think it's because it touches a nerve for many people watching.
And everyone was talking about it as well. You know, it made the news.
Everyone was certainly talking about it. There's no doubt about that. But for me, you know, at the time when I was in Nepal, and that's the real perspective builder. So when everything was like really full on, I just was like literally holding dying babies, and then when you see that and you're looking at the mother's eyes and you're thinking, right, I'm here to save the children. You want to save the children and not deal with.
Did that change your perspective?
Well, you know, I've been travelling with them, with the charity, to Bangladesh, to the Philippines, to Nepal. When you go to places like that, I think... And my mum's from the Philippines, you know. My mum came over here as an NHS nurse, you know, in the 60s for the call-out. And when you've been raised in that environment, you get a real sense of
Do you regret tweeting that tweet, though, Myleene, with regard to the
Do you live your life by regrets, Ben? You don't seem like that kind of guy.
Not remotely, but
there are certainly some tweets that I've regretted sending.
But I'd be very careful about it.
Really? Like what?
The ones which have been deleted.
I'd like to see those.
You don't regret it?
I don't live by regrets.
OK.
Myleene, lovely to see you. Thank you so much. And as we say, all the details on our website.